Have you ever heard of the website This Person Does Not Exist? It's like this super interesting website where it takes millions of pictures and uses AI to create pictures of people that look real, like this guy, but they aren't actually real. And you just hit refresh and you get a new person who looks real, but actually doesn't exist. And you can just keep going, and you get look at how many different faces you can get, and you just. Hello there. Pretty cool, huh? What if you just took all of this and turned it into a Football Manager Regen Facepack? But I am real. What's up? So I've probably titled this video something like, "This is the best Football Manager Regen Facepack ever," and people have done a lot of great work in this field, but in a passion project of 6 months, I do believe we've really put together just the best Football Manager Regen Facepack that has ever been made. And I think we're going to completely change the game here. It's a face pack that recognizes ethnicity. It's a face pack that can map onto every region in the game. It's a face pack that has a beautiful UI that actually works, that saves you a lot of trouble, and even has some versatility so you can like change it between saves. Did I mention that it recognizes ethnicity? And obviously it is all completely free for you guys to use and download. It's on FM Base right now. We've been hyping it up for weeks, of course, on stream, which if you want to hang out with me live, I stream at least 4 days a week in Twitch down in the description. Just you hit the follow button, you get a notification. Super simple technology, just like this face pack. God, I love it when the words and okay. So how did this come about? I was basically just becoming relevant in Football Manager, kind of crossing the threshold from I was making these videos to help people learn how to play the game to, well, now all of a sudden this is kind of a career and you're starting to pay people to do things. Reese editing these videos. Hi, Reese, for example. And somebody reached out to me, and that person was Samaroy. I have plenty of people reach out to me. My DMs are open. I try and answer all of them. He said, "Hey, I have this idea. I think that I can use AI to create a Football Manager face pack unlike anything anybody has ever seen before." And naturally, as a Football Manager nerd and somebody that now all of a sudden realized I had the resources to help make this happen, I went, sure. We got the mods involved. So Eyal, Seabergs, Kane were particularly involved helping process the incredible amount of data that needs to be processed to train AI to create faces. This is not an easy thing, and it took over 6 months. I said, Sam, look, anybody that you need to bring in for the team, we'll add them into this section of the Discord. We'll put it together under the flag. And we, 6 months later, have come out with this face pack, which is just unbelievable, and full credit to everybody involved. And that's obviously Sam, who is coordinating and helping with the actual processing of the images. You've Gestalt, who is the actual person that designed the UI so that you guys don't have to do 45 steps to install it. This is only a few step process, and it's going to continue to get easier as we release new versions. So this is not a finished product in the sense that we're not going to be developing it anymore. We're going to continue to develop it. HRiddick and Krysler did fantastic work on this as well. HRiddick was more on the like, what was that? Turned into like Bugs Bunny. And then Krysler actually helped figure out how to get the data that we needed in order to make all of this work. So all these people were absolutely integral. Everybody, essentially, except for me, I just put it together and were able to make it happen. All of those people were fantastic in their involvement. But that's not necessarily what you want to hear about. This incredible process, this journey, this 6-month plan to get a face pack ready for the release of Football Manager 21 that has come to this moment when I get to actually show you the face pack. So it's going to come with 2 links. There's a link to the actual face pack, which works like every other face pack you've ever seen. Let me pull that up now. This is the actual face pack download. So if you've ever had a face pack download before, this is super easy. You're just going to want to actually download it. And then in order to make this as easy as possible, we have actually posted the 2 file paths. You're only going to need 2 file paths. And if you don't know what that is, it's what's typed in here in order to get you somewhere in your computer. You don't even have to click through a bunch of folders with me showing you. We have the file paths down below for Windows here, and you will be able to copy those from the description and paste them right in. You don't have to do You have to lift a finger at this point. You will have to lift like maybe one finger later in this process. So we're going to take the Football Manager file path. There's one that says Football Manager at the end. That's the one you're going to want to grab first for the actual saving of this face pack. And you're going to click enter, and you're going to be in the Football Manager 2021 filing system. You're either going to create a new graphics folder, literally just new folder. I already have a graphics folder. You don't have to do anything else to the folder. Just name it graphics, go in there. This is just for organization purposes. You don't have to do this. I make a face folder. And then you click save. I'm not going to do it again because it takes like 30 minutes to download. It's pretty juicy. There's 100,000 faces in it. It downloads into the exact right spot that you're going to need to find it later. Then there's a second thing that you're going to need to download. Now, this isn't the face pack, but this is the UI or user interface. That's what that means. That's going to help you install it. So this is what's going to save you a ton of steps and actually make those faces that are in that folder that we're going to look at in a second just map onto the actual game. You know, the faces are useless if they don't get mapped onto the actual game. So you click in here and you see that there's a Mac and a Windows option. So we're going to make a different video for the Mac option because we haven't quite fleshed out exactly how to go through installing it on Mac. It's not to say that you won't be able to use this on Mac. It works on Mac. It's just in different places. If you feel like you can figure it out, take a crack at it. I think we're probably 2-3 weeks away from being able to make the video teaching you how to install this on Mac and Linux. For this video's purposes, and the vast majority of people, vast might be harsh, but on we go. You're going to download this. Show in folder. It just finished downloading. So now I'm going to unzip this. The way that you unzip this is it's a program called 7-Zip. If you don't have it, you're welcome to the internet. Download 7-Zip, and then when you right click on this, you'll see a 7-Zip option, and then you just want to extract files and hit OK. And so that zipped up file system is going to pop out. So if we go back to the same folder, we see we now have a completely unzipped version. We are going to open that up. And this is your installer. We are just going to run the installation, and you might have to click next the first time you do it, and then click finish, and it's done. Now when you go down to your start window, the UI is right here. All of this will be empty. We'll get to that. Now that you have the tools that you need, let's take a look at the faces themselves. And we go into graphics and faces, and we go in here. And here you see the different ethnicities that the face pack has been broken down into. You have African, Asian, Caucasian, Central European, Eastern European, Central Asian, we mix those together, Italian, Mediterranean. We've got Middle East, North Africa, and Middle East, South Asia combinations. We've got South Americans without African influence, and then we have South Americans with African influence, Scandinavia, Southeast Asian, Spanish Mediterranean, and Yugoslav Greek. Those are the different ethnicities that it's been sorted into. We got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of faces of footballing aged males in these different ethnic areas from these countries. We use them to train the AI over time to be able to pump out hundreds of thousands of faces. We can come out with a face pack every week, just a new 100,000 faces. Every new save, you can take a new face pack into that save. I don't know why you'd want to. 100,000 is a lot of faces. Okay, it takes a while to get to 100,000 regions in a game. Doing that repeatedly, pretty insane. So here's a face. This is not a real person. Looks just about as real as humanly possible. Every single one of these people. And it still blows my mind. I've been involved in this for half a year. It boggles the imagination. Like, you can't actually believe that that person's just not real. That is an AI generated image that has been trained over months to be able to produce an African face. So the way that it works is you're presented with like this sheet of faces that are generated from the thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of pictures that they have. And then we keep feeding faces into the system. And just watch this. It's super cool. They change over time and they become the faces that you're feeding into the system. And then you go through and say, well, this one's wrong. That one's wrong. This one's probably wrong. He's got his head going on over there. This one's obviously wrong. But then you get somebody like this that looks like a complete, this guy, that guy. They look completely normal. And you just keep feeding into the system until the random collection of generated faces become more and more like faces that you want to exist. Now, obviously, we would love to continue to get larger sample sizes so you can differentiate. You've got your East African, you've got your West African. We're not quite at that level yet. That's what we want to do when we continue on with these versions. I know you can keep parsing it down as far as you want. So we have Yugoslav Greek. Well, wouldn't you want Greek and Yeah, we've thought of that. Trust me. None of these people are real. but they will be to you because they'll be your regens. Behind the eyes of one of these pictures will be your next world beater. Nigeria, shoot, from Ethiopia, who knows? And it's not just there. Every single one, Middle East, North Africa, all of them are not real. This is not a real person. That's not a real person. That is not a real person. Just amazing. Every time I come in here and click through, it is just amazing. A Southeast Asian subset, we were able to get a large enough collection of pictures to produce a workable subset. There's a threshold you have to cross with the AI generation in order to be able to produce a perfect training. Dude has great skin. It's also not real, so that's worth remembering. Absolutely unstoppably incredible. I mean, they couldn't look better, but we're going to try and make them look better, more specific to, ideally, eventually you get to a point where every single country is there. We get this question. The ethnicity identifier, the countries, the United States, Great Britain's another one of these countries, basically most countries in the modern world where just being from that country doesn't really guarantee what you look like. Even in the United States, you might have a second nationality. There's no way to actually know that, except in Football Manager there is. Skin color and name. In the program that we have that is run to install this face pack doesn't just look for nationalities. It also looks for the in-game skin color in the name and is able to appropriately apply a nationality to somebody based off of that, which is probably the coolest freaking thing about this. And why did I not talk about that until now? We can track the skin color, we can track the name, and we're able to appropriately assign faces based off that. So if your name is like Tim Nakamoto, and you're from the United States, it's going to be able to pick up on that and give you a more Japanese face, assuming based off that last name that you are majority Japanese. I guess it's impossible to be 100% right in that situation, but I am now logicking myself in a circle. You get the idea of what we applied. So how exactly do you actually put this in the game? Excellent question. This is where we go back to the two file paths. Well, we're going to go to the one that doesn't say Football Manager. We're going to put it in the top bar, and we're going to hit enter. And that's where we're going to get inside the NewGAN manager thing that we were downloading earlier. This is the UI portion. And you're going to go into app. Ignore all the other fancy stuff. Go into app and go into views. And in views, you are going to find these 6 things. You're going to copy them. And if you're me, you're just going to open another file explorer. All you got to do is sit there and copy these 2 things and just hit enter. You create a views folder, and then in it, you paste those exact files. I've obviously already done that. And then we're going to open Football Manager and we're almost ready to go. We have one more thing that we have to do. While it's not mind-bending, it is where things are a little fluid. And the only apprehension I had about releasing the face pack now as is because this part of the process is the only part of the process that is not 100% clean yet. But I know you guys are going to enjoy it so much, I just can't sit on this any longer. And that's why I'm here. You can load into a already running save. You can start a new save. It really doesn't matter. Starting a new save, you actually won't really be able to do this, but that's just because there's no regens. You understand the issue there. But I'm going to load in to the Aberdeen save that I've been running on Twitch. And so what we need to do in that views folder, just explaining this is unnecessary for me to explain. And if you're not a technology person, just close your ears for a second. In that views folder, those views are designed to be able to draw certain information out of the game, which can then be exported and read by the UI in order to actually make the face pack work. I guess that wasn't that high-minded. But the real trick is being able to get all of the regens in a player search window at the same time. In order to do this, my #1 recommendation would be the in-game editor, which comes out with the full game, which means I don't have it while I'm filming this video. If you do not want to buy the in-game editor, you don't know of any other better way to get people into the player search that are regens, then this is what you're going to do. You're going to make sure you've cleared everything in your player search, and you're going to find the age of players that are definitely regens in the game. In which case, for me, since I'm in my first season, is just a few 16-year-olds that have popped up. There's literally 35 players here. That's fine. That works as a sample size, and once you get into 1 year, depending on how much knowledge your club has, there'll be a lot more. You get on this screen, and then you go to the viewfinder. There's this little drop-down arrow. You go to custom, and you're going to import a view, and you're going to pick script faces, player search. That's the one. and you load. And this is all of the information that you need. So you're just going to hit Control Print, Control P. It's Control P. And you're going to print this as a text file. And then we'll title it Regen Info. It's going to save it in that Football Manager folder that we were at earlier. And then the last thing we need to do is actually open the UI that's going to help you run this. And you're going to want to create a profile, which would be, for this case, Zealand Video. We're just going to create a Zealand Video profile, and then you're going to go and select that Zealand Video profile, or whatever profile you've created. You can have as many different profiles as you want, and what that means is as many different reassignments of faces in the game as you want. So my basic plan is you have a different profile for each save game. Easy enough for me. And then you have image directory. Well, what would be the image directory? The faces. So that's where we're going to go pick. You're going to hit this PC, then you're going to go to Documents, Sports Interactive, and Football Manager 21. You're just trying to get into the Football Manager 21 folder, not the Steam one, but the Sports Interactive one. And into that Football Manager 21 folder, where are your faces? They're in Graphics and Faces, and you click FM NewGAN. And you click OK. That's your face directory. Well, what's your RTF file? That is the bit of code that the two things need to be combined in order for the faces to end up in the game. So we're just going to go get our bit of code. And I put it on the desktop. Wherever you put it, go find it. There it is, Regen Info. It's literally a Word document. This is the map. And that's what's trying to get there. And then you want to go Generate, and you click Replace Faces. And you're done. The greatest face pack hopefully ever invented that we're going to continue to improve is now yours to enjoy for all of eternity. If they don't show up right away, here's what you need to do. Football Manager comes with something called caches preloaded. So you go to FM, you go to Preferences. And then in Preferences, you're going to be here, most likely. You're going to start an overview, you go to Advanced, and then you're going to go down to Interface. And this will be ticked. Right? It should look like this. Even if it doesn't, you just make it look like this. Caching is great. And once you reload your skin, I would recommend turning it back on. It saves you load time. And this is already a much faster version of Football Manager. But you need to reload the skin one time because it's got the image cached. So you just need to reload it once and then you're good. So then you just click Reload Skin and it'll look like this. And when it's done, the faces should be there. You can go back in, you can turn caching back on. If that doesn't work and you followed all of the other steps, try switching your skin. It might be using a fancy skin that might be blocking it from coming through. Most skins will let it come through, but the people that design skins, I don't really know how it works. I've just been told sometimes that they can block things off. So we're just going to go ahead and click confirm and life is good. But one thing that we're working on that is not happening automatically is like automatic mapping of the faces. So every year when you get your youth intake, or right after you get your youth intake, you can have the christening of the faces. So how does that happen? Well, it's super easy. That's why we've designed the UI. Just make sure you have the same profile set up, right? You need the same profile. You have a different profile for every save. You can have the same profile for every save, but then the faces will be assigned to the same regions that come in particular parts of the world all the time. And we like to mix it up. So you make sure you keep the same profile. Your image directory is going to stay the same. You're going to do whatever you did in the game earlier to see all of the regions. Go to the player search, do that again, and then you export the data, same place. You pull it up right here, right? The same way you did last time. And then instead of going with generate, you just click preserve, because that will preserve all of the faces that have already been assigned and just assign faces to those that haven't already been assigned. And then you just click replace faces and voila, you're done. You now have, for the next year, your regen faces in place. And it should take about less than a minute. There is also a reporting system. We have not found any faces that are glitched, and this is for one or two of you probably total. If you do find a player that is glitched, pull their player ID, which is visible in the top bar. You can make it visible in the top bar on Football Manager and Preferences. You put that player ID in here, you click report, and we'll be able to remove it and update it in the newest version. Hey, what's up? It's Zealand from the future, and I just wanted to make sure I'd add this into the game. So I was able to get the pregame editor. The game came out. I'm filming this like 10 hours before the video, so that's fine. And when you have your editor on, right, you go up here, you click this drop down, and of course you can pull up all of the regions that you know exist in the game in the way that I showed you earlier. This is just to get every region in the entire game. Show all players in player search. Then you just go up here, you click new search, you hit the drop down, you get a hidden, and then you can click is NewGen, and that would theoretically bring up all of the NewGens. That doesn't work for whatever reason. I'm going to put in a complaint with Football Manager, and hopefully it'll work soon, which is why I'm showing you this. But still, you have every player available, so we can just drop the age to, you know, every 15 and 16-year-old in the game is a regen. We know that for sure. Hey, what up? It's Zealand from the future. Like future. It's the middle of the night. The video comes out in a couple of hours, but I've been talking to the programming team, and there's one thing they wanted me to tell you in this tutorial before we absolutely button things up. And that's that if you want to be able to export all of the data at the same time, so as you can see, I have a list of like 3,300 players. You want to click on the first player and then hit Control A, and this is going to select every player in the player search. Then you go and you pull up your view that you used already, and you have every player selected on Control A, so that when you scroll all the way to the bottom, even the players at the bottom are highlighted. This is going to allow you to export all of the information. This is going to make it 100% foolproof for you to be able to export the information. And I would recommend every time that you pull up one of these player search windows that you actually click on the first person, hit Control A. It's a 1-second step that is going to guarantee that this runs smoothly for you. Back to me in the past. Man. And then we do the exact same thing we did before. Control P and print out a text file that we are then going to put in the Football Manager folder just as unnamed. And now we'll be able to make this work. So we go find that directory. Now we've got 3,300 faces. I'm so excited for this to be able to show off everything. I've got my Football Manager tab. So we go to Untitled. That is our directory. We are going to preserve the faces. And then we are going to replace in our Aberdeen. So let us reload the skin. Before, you know, we have these faces. Let's reload the skin, shall we? And they're gonna look a little bit cooler. So Isaac Akaborti, even though he's German first nationality, let's go. Is that so cool? Honestly, it never gets old. Like, and you know what's amazing? Check that out. He's French, no second nationality, but we are able to recognize the fact that, you see there, can you zoom in? Because when you right click and you hover over the name, that is his actual regen face. So that's his actual skin color. This face pack is so good, it picks up on that. Look, we were working on this for 6 months, and since we weren't able to work with FM21, there was a lot of troubleshooting that had to happen, especially after the full game came out. In order to make this work, we were working up to the hour that I'm sure you were downloading it to enjoy it for the first time. So another massive thank you to the entire team, to my professors for giving me a couple of projects to do while all of this was going on. I'm very thankful for that, of course, as well. I just hope you guys enjoy. And if you want to support what we're doing, of course, be sure to join the Hammers on Twitch, press that subscribe button, and hit the like button as well. That's all the love and thanks we need. Enjoy the face pack. I'll see you guys on stream.